Hey everyone, welcome to the live edition of Shared Security. This is actually the first time that we're recording in person, I think in 14 years.
Yeah, I don't remember ever doing it in person. I know we've talked about it, like at conference, like, oh, hey, we're both going to Schmoo or whatever, let's do this.
But we just never did it for whatever reason. So
does this get an episode number?
Yeah, but I forget what episode we're on. So
4,000.
It's been a long week, okay?
Live 001.
That's right, yeah. And we're joined by a special guest who has been on the podcast before, Matt J.
Hi.
So Matt was nice enough to get us this awesome room at Reddit headquarters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I upvote that.
Look at it. We have an upvote pillow.
In my head, it feels like that should be green.
Right? Yeah. So thanks, Matt. This is great. I appreciate the space. And we're at RSA in San Francisco, and it has been a crazy week so far. Right, Kevin?
And it's only Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, we walked through enhanced security.
Oh, yes. We walked through.
Kevin was told to step aside.
No, I wasn't. So they got, and I wish damn it, we meant to grab the company name as we were leaving because both of us missed it as we went in. So I never got the email. Did you get the email?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so it must have gone to my spam or something like that, where it's like, hey, don't bring in weapons, don't bring in Altoids, don't bring in, right, like that kind of stuff, which Altoids are curiously strong. So I understand not wanting to have, throw them at people or something.
Yes.
But it's some company, and I'm sure that when we look at their website, it'll be AI, machine learning, crypto, VC stuff. And you walk through the metal detector, and they got in the one we walked through, there's two dudes standing at iPads, right? And I go through, I don't have a bag, so I got business cards in one pocket, my phone in another pocket, and I got the stupid RSA badge, right, hanging. And as I walk by, all of a sudden the iPad starts beeping, just like crazy, right? And I stop and I look, and there's a picture of me, and it's got a cube on my empty pocket. Out of all the pockets I've got, the one pocket that's empty is the pocket it highlights. And it's beeping. So I look at the guy who's just kind of picking his nose or something. And I'm like, hey, you got to do something with that? And he looks down and he goes, oh, man, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, you got to go over there. And he points me over to this table. So I walk over, again, don't have a bag, right? The two guys behind the table are going through bags. I walk up, and the guy behind the desk, when it's my turn, I say to the guy, hey, man, he told me to come over here. And he goes, oh, what you got in your pockets? My business cards and my phone. And I pulled my phone out. No, I pulled the business cards out. Yeah. And the guy's like, oh, okay, good. And he walked me by. And then as I walked past him and walked up to someone, I go, and a gun. And
why would you say that?
Because I could. That's it. But that's enhanced security. And here's the funny part. It wasn't TSA, which is what I would have expected.
Yeah.
So that was enhanced security at RSA.
Yeah.
What you got in your pockets?
Yeah, and that's the first time they've done that. Have you ever seen
No, I heard that there was some credible threats against some of the keynote speakers last week. So this was a very last minute edition.
Okay.
So this is grapevine, right? I'm not affiliated with RSA in any way, but I think what's his name, Blinken, old Secretary of State, was there, and I heard that there was some credible threats due to his presence.
Well, he was the Secretary of State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they retain Secret Service? Just like the president, the vice president?
100%, but I guess when there was threats because of the event that he was at, they were like, okay, we're now screening everyone at the door. It's actually kind of wild to think about a 60,000 person event that I've been coming to every year since 2008. This is the first time we've gone through a metal detector.
Yes. Yeah. I have not been at RSA. I realized, I don't know, a month ago, it might have been you I was talking to, and the last time I was at RSA was my 40th birthday. I literally spoke on my 40th birthday with John Strand, and we presented at RSA. And
which was last year or something?
No, it was 11 years ago. I appreciate that, man. No, it was 11 years. I turned 51 this year. I'm old. Can't you tell? So, yeah, it's been 11 years. But when I found out it was metal detectors for the first time ever, that surprised me as well. Not that I'm recommending everybody has metal detectors, but...
Yeah.
It's a very crowded event.
Yes.
It's a very
Yeah.
great event. So,
What is it? I thought it was 40,000.
50, 60,000, I think.
I think I heard 60 last year. So I don't know. I don't have the stat numbers. Tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I walked around the expo.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So we did a little bit of walking around the expo. I was there earlier this morning, and no surprise, but every time I walk past a booth, I hear about AI capability, the new AI capability that our product has.
Take a drink every time.
Like I think you could make it a drinking game because it was.
No, I don't think you could.
You would die.
Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. You would die. You
Right,
would
that's
die.
right, yeah.
I mean, we all predicted this, right?
No,
We
it's-
knew.
I don't even think this counts as a prediction. Like this is what people are trying to sell, right? Like, I stand by the thing I stole off the internet. The difference between AI and machine learning is machine learning is done in Python and AI is done in PowerPoint. And I stand by that. Nothing I saw in the Expo Center proved me wrong.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was you or somebody else that mentioned, like, are we in the hype cycle right now of AI everything? Like, this is how these things go. Remember blockchain and the hype around that and crypto? Like,
Blockchain solved the world's problems. Everything's fixed now.
Did it
Yes,
though, Kevin?
totally. World hunger is gone.
Yeah.
Solved money laundering.
Yes.
Made money laundering a lot easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a problem we were all working on.
I'll be the voice of, you want me to hold it? Okay. I'll be the voice of AI's defense a little bit, right? Is that blockchain did not impact my life whatsoever. I've never been a crypto person whatsoever.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT and other AI models roughly every day. Like,
I do too.
Multiple times.
yeah. So in AI's defense, I think the hype cycle is slightly warranted in that, like, it has impacted technology professionals, specifically day-to-day lives more so. I will say most companies are not actually implementing AI in any sort of meaningful way, right? I see a few flavors of what they're saying when they're saying AI, right? We've implemented a ChatGPT wrapper into our product that's like your first layer customer support on our product or something like that. Or if you like integrate with a SOC, it's like, oh, maybe someone in the SOC can like chat with this bot for a second about like what playbook should I run or whatever it is. I've seen that flavor, which is probably the least impressive flavor in my opinion.
But I think in a lot of ways, it's the most impactful one. I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah.
By impact, I mean the sheer number of people that are able to interact with it and deal with it and get something out of it.
Well, I'd say I interact with ChatGPT directly and get a lot out of it versus some wrapper in a product that like has like preloaded prompts isn't necessarily changing my interaction with that product very much, right?
Okay.
What I will say that like some other buckets that I've seen that is actually slightly impressive is if you're a huge like cybersecurity company that has a lot of data. I've seen like some flavors of, hey, we're now using LLM technology to like train and better spot anomalies or whatever it is. Again, it's really just like that level 1 pass at things, right? So it's not like earth shattering change the world, but like, hey, cool, they're at least using it in a security way. And then the third, and actually kind of maybe the most interesting to me, some companies are just they're using AI. They're just writing a big check to OpenAI every month for their usage. They're using it, right? I saw one vendor. Can I name vendor? Is that okay if I name a vendor? I'm not affiliated.
It's up to your.
I'm not affiliated in any way. So this is why it's cool. I'm not affiliated in any way. Socket. They find vulns in like supply chain products, in package managers, stuff like this, right? They throw all of NPM and PyPy at OpenAI. Like constantly, they throw the whole thing at it to try to identify malware in repos. They say it's about a 30 to 40% true positive rate. So that's garbage. That's garbage, right? Like,
But it's enough.
If you were the consumer of that product and it was a 60% false positive rate, you would be pretty annoyed. But they don't show that to their customers. They eat the cost on it, and it's identifying malware.
Yeah. See,
That's a cool AI usage.
See, I'm not biased in AI. I think AI is awesome.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah.
I use it every day.
Yeah.
In multiple ways, and it has made my life easier, better,
Totally
whatever,
agree.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm able to do more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't know if irritation is the right word, but the irritation as I walk through that expo center and see it is that so many of them are promoting it as it's fake one.
The savior.
Right? Yeah. This is why you need to hire us. This is why you need to buy our product. This is why you need to do this. And when you start digging into it, the vast majority of them are the first two buckets you're talking about. Right? And this is, and I've ranted about this a million times, right? The marketing and sales in InfoSec sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We are snake oil salesmen so often, right? And the problem I have with it is that people don't call them out, right? Like we walk around. I listen to people. I'm sitting there yesterday. I don't remember. I was at lunch, and I'm hearing the people around me talking, and I just sat there getting irritated because like these people are like, "Oh man, I saw this thing. It's that we got to do it." I think the phrase I heard multiple times was, "This meets our AI mandate." And I'll be honest. I don't even know what an AI mandate is for a company. Like, but from context, I think it was like their boss said, "Buy AI shit." So but that's all I could figure out but at least 4 times I heard, and it was different tables, right? Like it wasn't like that dude said it 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, if we buy such and such a thing, it'll meet our AI mandate. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I know you guys both also don't live in a place like this. Right? No, I also don't. I used to live in Silicon Valley. And I remember that was something that I realized. So my first stop out of here was Houston, Texas. I was only there for a few years. I'm still in Texas, but I'm in Austin, which leans a little closer to Silicon Valley for Texas at least.
It does, yeah.
For Texas at least. But Houston does not. When I first stopped in Houston, I remember people asked me how I was going, and I said, I went to IHOP this morning and I didn't hear anyone talking about that app that they started next to me. We were just talking about pancakes.
It was awesome.
And that's how I describe moving from Silicon Valley to whatever. And now it's AI, right? I didn't hear about anyone's AI mandate at the coffee shop this morning. It's depends if that's good for you or bad for you. Choose your city.
I'm in Jacksonville. They talk about Leonard Skinner. That's what we hear out of it.
That's the extent of things, right?
Yeah. Which is cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Are you tired of compromising on security when it comes to managed file transfer? Look no further. Meet Kiteworks, the most secure MFT on the market today. Kiteworks MFT Suite is not just secure, it's FedRAMP Moderate authorized by the Department of Defense since 2017. This means it undergoes yearly audits and continuous monitoring by certified third-party assessors. But that's not all. Kiteworks provides a world-class secure file sharing and email platform. Easy for end users, manageable for administrators. With custom integrations, unified console management, Kiteworks sets the bar high where traditional MFT servers fall short. Step into the future of secure managed file transfer with Kiteworks. Visit kiteworks.com to get started today. That's kiteworks.com to get started today.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture, but your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/shared security to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
So where do you guys think, with all the vendor hype, and we're obviously all using AI in some way to make our lives or jobs better and easier. Do you think that we're really coming up to a turning point in terms of how these tools are evolving as the vendors are kind of hyping this up? And I know you talk a lot and we both talked to Daniel Miessler, right? And the stuff that he's doing.
Yep.
He's got Fabric, that tool is just awesome.
Yep.
And there's a lot of this awesome tooling coming out. Are we going to see it really start to be integrated into our lives and literally change things? They're changing things now.
I hope so.
Is it going to get to the point where?
I think so, for sure, right? Try to imagine just pre-GPT-3, right? Versus now, right? And just the hockey stick that and how much money is being dumped at it. Sam Altman, with a straight face, is looking at a group of investors asking for $1 trillion to build the next generation of all of this stuff. And with a straight face said, we'll build it and then we'll ask it to figure out how to make a return on your investment. We don't know, but it will.
Yeah.
With a straight face, right? So either he is so far,
and he's getting the money.
he's
getting the money.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. I think so. There's this this book series I read a while ago, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically the future, right? And they're living out a space station and all this kind of stuff. And the one thing out of this book series that just always stuck with me is, they all had, and lots of books have this, lots of movies have this, whatever, but they called them specs, and it was glasses, like Google Glass, right? But it was AI driven, and it, I know how much I use my cell phone, and I know how much I walking around here in San Francisco. Every time I walk out of my hotel room, get outside, I need a map to tell me where I'm going. And I'm old. I remember printed almanacs that you would take with you in the car to get places and stuff like that. Triptych or whatever, right?
MapQuest.
Yeah. I used to print out MapQuest when I started traveling for work. I have a manila folder in my backpack and pull it out, and it had the path from the airport to the hotel to the client to the hotel back to the airport. And that was printed before I left home. And I know right now, when I get in my car at work and it's past a certain time, it pulls up the navigation to get me back to my house.
Right? It just knows,
Knows that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's AI, that's a schedule, right? But as we move forward, if we don't implement that level of stuff, I'd be shocked. Because that kind of stuff is trivial with what we're seeing. The ability to say, you know what, it's Friday night, it's the first Friday of the month, that means it's the tool meeting, and I'm going to the tool meeting in Jacksonville.
Or if it's integrated in your email and says, hey, I see you booked, your RSA is coming up, you went last year. By the way, you're booked, and the hotel already knows that you'd like an extra pillow, and you want the New York Times on your bed in the morning. It's done. It's done.
Why would we not
Absolutely.
want that? And this goes back to, we've talked about it multiple times. I like targeted advertising. I do. I know I'm weird, but
if it's good, if it's done well, absolutely.
Yeah. I hate it.
I used to say, Instagram for some reason had me pinned on.
Yes.
I've actually purchased multiple things from advertising on Instagram. Right.
TikTok has me.
Yeah.
I go on TikTok and it's like, I do want that.
Yeah.
I like that. Is some now Amazon I hate.
Yeah.
Because I will buy something from Amazon.
And then they advertise
for 2
back
weeks.
to you.
Right. It's like,
I just bought it.
I bought it. I knew.
I'm not collecting toilet seats. I bought the toilet seat. You don't need 7. This is not a subscription for toilet seats.
That's what they do. I love targeted advertising.
Yeah.
So why would I not love? Hey man, you were at RSA last year. We've already arranged this, and you can go cancel it, right? If you don't want it, go cancel it, or
confirm or whatever. So I think so one thing I think that we haven't seen yet, and that we're starting to see, right, is and what AI is going to do for not just our industry but a lot of industries. Do you remember Wendy Nather used to use this term, the security poverty line?
Yeah,
the cybersecurity poverty line. Yep. I think AI is going to help raise the cybersecurity poverty line, right? So that the bare minimum stuff. Hey, everyone now kind of has an intern that they didn't have previously.
Yep.
So everyone has at least an extra head count to like help with things. And so hopefully it'll raise the bottom, right? Of like, hey, do some of this kind of work, or just like help speed up some of the teams that are maybe strapped for resources.
How many
right?
1 or 2 person shops do you know they run security for that entire company?
And it's companies you've never heard of, or some of them that you've heard of but are in tech shops, right? I know you service a lot of these companies, like both of you work at consultant shops. I've been a consultant in my past. I've flown out to Middle America. This company runs all the car dealerships in the whole neighborhood, and it's an empire of a company, but you've never heard of them.
And they've got your data.
And they've got, and I did one in Jacksonville, actually. They have an import-export business, and they're shipping Priuses in by train. And this is the first time they get looked at in the United States.
Yeah.
And guess what? Their security system was running XP Service Pack 2 when I showed up. So I'm dating myself. But anyway.
But no, you're not, because we've just found
I don't want to know that. I haven't been to Pentester in so long. I don't want to know that. But hey, what I'm saying is, like, hopefully shops like that could make good use of AI tools to help get them just above that security poverty line that, Wendy, I love the term, right?
I think it's an excellent term. I think this is important because way too often people like us, and that's why I clarified what we're bashing, because InfoSec people are quick to bash.
This RSA floor is not what I'm talking about.
Right, exactly. And what we do is we bash this stuff, and then that car dealership empire in Middle America thinks, well, that security person I follow on Twitter, that security person says it's bad, I'm not going to use it, right? And then what we're doing is we're undermining that benefit by doing that bashing. And I think it's important to clarify that kind of stuff.
That's why I was saying I want to be the voice of defense. Yeah. But I completely agree with you. I think 90% of the people around the corner, their marketing team just threw it on the banners for the booth because they had to, because they had a mandate, apparently.
I just saw a comic on Facebook or something like that where it was like, hey, pull up last year's RSA decks and replace blockchain with AI. And it was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, some people just don't get it, right? But I think the good security teams, among us, that's your job for the next 2 years, is to wade through that just pile and figure out which companies are actually doing that to enhance their product offering in some way. Because I've seen it. Like I said, I've come up with a few examples and I've seen it. And then a lot just aren't, right? And so that's what we have to do, right?
I'll have
we
to
have
look
to
at
figure
the
it out.
second one because I've not looked at that.
They're super
That
cool.
sounds awesome.
It's a cool group of guys, and like I said, they're not like advertising themselves as an AI security company, right?
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're an SCA vendor. We supply chain security, whatever. Oh, by the way, we cut this fat check to OpenAI every month and eat this awful false positive rate just to give you guys more malware that we wouldn't have the time to find manually.
But it's
pretty cool.
That is the greatest, right? Because it's an awful false positive rate, but I'd rather that false positive rate and get
malware
the 30-40% actually impacted people.
Well, so, and to clarify, it's not malware in your code, right? It's malware in NPM that you might pull in, right? Yep. And so, it's super cool. I talked to them last night. They've had this for a while. I talked to them last night. They've even optimized it a bit. They're throwing like some of this stuff at 3.5 first, so that's cheap, and then whatever that finds elevate to 4, and
that
so
makes sense.
They're optimizing now, right? But yeah, I've seen them. And like I said, some of the giants, I think, they're probably slower to this, but I think some of the giant security companies that we all know have so much good data to train on that like the new LLM tech that they could leverage to train, because they've been saying they do machine learning forever.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh, we do machine learning, anomaly detection, blah, 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 blah. But now, like, they don't need to have a bunch of machine learning PhDs on staff to do that. They can use, something off of Hugging Face or whatever, right? Exactly.
Anybody can do it. Yeah. I mean, I'm an idiot.
So I think some of these large, say, middleware firewall vendors or like network security people or something like that, they have a lot of really, really good network traffic with good data and bad data. And that's like perfect to train.
When is the Verizon DBIR going to be in a model? Right? Here's the PDF of the report.
Oh, interesting.
And the model.
Okay, so here's actually so this is a good pivot, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Stealing your job here. No. This is a good point because the DBIR just came out.
I know.
And they just said hey, by the way, the attackers aren't doing crap with AI. So all this hype about attackers using
Yes.
AI to get more sophisticated, they're not seeing it.
Can I just say, I want to say for the record, because I'm wrong all the time. I was right, because I've been saying that forever about all the hype about, well, AI voice calls and AI this and AI that. It's like, no, that's fancy and
You don't
headline
need-
getting.
You don't need
You don't
it.
need it.
So I will say the one thing I've seen from adversaries is that law enforcement is having a hard time geolocating them now because English is now commoditized.
Yep.
Right. So like wherever you are as a threat actor, you now have an English speaking friend to like help with your attacks.
So Grammarly is helping me.
Grammarly, ChatGPT, whatever it is, right, is probably just throwing off law enforcement on attribution. But it doesn't matter because they know where a lot of these guys are anyway, and they're still very active, right? So it's not like, I mean, we just saw the lockbit stuff come out. We know who this person is, right?
Yes.
They're still out there, they're still active. So that's why, it's not like this hacking sophistication has gone up, but the English sophistication is definitely
Well, let's be
a little bit
blunt.
more level.
My English sophistication has gone up because of AI. Because
Yeah.
I'm better
Yeah.
at it.
At least my writing's getting better.
Yeah, my writing's gotten better.
You just got to remove the word delve all the time from ChatGPT.
No.
There's keywords. There's things that
I will
are
tell you
always
that
in the response.
I can
the
spot a mile,
pre-configs,
you know.
the pre-configs, you can tell it not
Yeah.
to use those words.
Well, yeah.
And I keep adding those in my config, so every time I write it,
It's
My
still-
prompts are
it still does
don't
some
use
stuff.
the word delve.
Yeah, don't use the word now. Don't use that word. I've never used that word until right now.
As someone who writes a newsletter every week, I wish I could get ChatGPT to write parts of it for me. It takes me hours, but it cannot stop saying certain things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're crafting a phishing email, that's it. That's all you need is
Right,
one
right.
good payload,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I use it for things like, and I will admit, this is actually from my ChatGPT history. How can I tell somebody they're an idiot professional? That's what I use ChatGPT for.
corporate smoothing. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with that, I think we can wrap things up here. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug?
I could go
coming up?
for 2 more hours.
Yeah. It's a fun conversation, but
No, I mentioned my newsletter. Hey, you know, we've talked before, but yeah, I run a newsletter called VulnerableU. Check it out every week, free Fridays. I put a lot of time into it.
he does.
As
It's really good
I
stuff.
mean, you guys know how
Yep.
content's hard. So yeah, you got your day job and then you got the content creation. So,
Yup.
but yeah, I talk about mental health in tech and cybersecurity news, like all kind of together in my newsletter. So
I will tell you, it's an excellent newsletter.
yeah, thank you,
It is.
appreciate it. And then yeah, just like my day job is Reddit, and so thanks to Reddit for having us
Yeah,
here.
thanks to
This is
Reddit.
super cool.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate this. This is great.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
space, and yeah, maybe we'll get some pictures on the way out.
I'll admit I spend way too much time on Reddit.
I do too.
Yeah.
I know. I'll vote that.
Yeah, we're throwing a party here tonight,
no,
hosted by content creators and journalists, and yeah, obviously if we're the front page of the internet, so why not, you know,
Makes
kind
sense.
of host that kind of environment. So yeah, should be fun.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to get back to fun at RSA, but thanks everyone for listening. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay secure, and stay private.
Thanks for watching or listening to this episode. If you'd like to help support the podcast and get early access to new episodes with no ads, plus many more exclusive benefits, become an official supporter of the podcast for only $5 a month. Visit sharedsecurity.net/supporter for more details.